are live. Welcome anyone who is out there. I know it's a Saturday. I know you're spending time with your family, your friends, your loved ones, but maybe, just maybe, you're at a point where you're online, you're on your phone. Come out and play, trying to go live on an impromptu basis. Forget all those events and trying to play the algorithm. If I have to rely on an algorithm to build my company, I'm just going to go get a job somewhere delivering newspapers. So we are live. I'm having my afternoon tea. Have some thoughts I'd like to share today, but let's wait and see who joins us. Looking over on LinkedIn. We're live today on YouTube and LinkedIn, of course. So let's look over on LinkedIn. See, it's a Saturday, and everyone says don't post on Saturday, don't post on the weekend. There's too many rules, right? Grow the way you want, which is something that we're going to chat about today. I see 9 people joining us. Don't just be lurkers. Come in, hit the like button, hit the share button, and answer 2 questions. If you've seen me go live before, you know I urge you to answer 2 questions as you watch this, and answer these questions first thing when you wake up in the morning. The first question is, what's awesome about today? And the second question is, what will you do to make today even more awesome? So I dare you, I challenge you, I invite you, I implore you in the comments right now, write what's awesome about today. And if you want to write a follow-up, write, what will I do to make today even more awesome? And I see the viewers going up, the viewers going down on LinkedIn. So if you're joining us, come on out and play. I had some thoughts I wanted to share today. Welcome. I see more and more people joining us here. Who's joining us? Don't just be a lurker. Don't be afraid. Come in, engage. Life is about engaging intentionally. Come in, share your name, say hello. By the way, share who you are and where you're joining us from. If you're scared to do that, my goodness, come on in. Come on in. And I'm going to get started. By the way, if you're watching this in the replay later, what's awesome about today? What will you do to make it even more awesome? Share your name and where you're joining us from. I always love seeing the global community here on LinkedIn, and we're live on YouTube as well. So, earlier this week, someone on Facebook posted, one of my Facebook friends posted, how do you avoid stress on the weekends? And my reply to him was very simple. I avoid stress on the weekends the same way I avoid it every other day of the week. And you may be saying, oh, Kurt, that's so easy. Oh, Kurt, you must be privileged. That's easy for you to do. Well, if you've read my book or if you've followed my posts, I've posted every single day on LinkedIn for the past 4 years. You know that I ate shit for years. A little over 4 years ago, I shut down a PR and ad agency, a 7-figure PR and ad agency at peak revenue because I was sick of the stress. And so as I tell clients now, I just don't do fires anymore. Someone in my recent boot camp said, well, sometimes you have to do fires. No, you don't. Everything is a choice. And once you realize that, you step through the matrix and you realize you don't have to be stressed. You don't have to be anxious. You don't have to grind. Now, yes, this is contrary to what many of maybe you are saying, or many of you have seen here on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Twitter, wherever else, from what I call, the motivational gurus or the hustle and grind pornographers. They would have you believe that you absolutely cannot be successful unless you struggle. They would have you believe wrongly that effort equals struggle, that to be an entrepreneur, you have to eat shit. And what this does is it causes self-sabotage. I know this. Now, again, some of you may be saying, well, Kurt, you're privileged. What do you know about struggle? Listen, take your privilege and shove it up your ass. Yes, I am privileged, okay? But that didn't stop me from forcing myself to eat shit when I didn't have to. Yes, I made $1.5 million and I almost killed myself. Anxiety attacks. I almost lost my family. If I kept up at that pace when all this COVID shit happened over the last 2 years, the bottom line is I may not be here today. Because for 14 years, I bought the lie that you have to struggle, that you have to eat shit, that you have to grind away. And yes, I became successful, but in the back of my head, I had, my father was my hero. My father left me with a great work ethic, but he grew up during the Great Depression where they had nothing and he built something. And so the programming was, you have to struggle. I struggled when I didn't need to. I fought when I needed to allow. I ground when I should have flowed. And I meet so many entrepreneurs who can't get out of their way because they believe that bullshit that you have to struggle. Stuart Wilde said it best: effort doesn't equal struggle. You can put in the effort, but do it in a smart way. You can jump in the river and start flowing. What that takes is knowing where you want to go, setting the intention, the clear intention of where you want to go, attaching a positive emotion to it. We talked about this in yesterday's live. Then have actions that stem from what you clearly want. When you do that, you're like a mountain stream. When the boulders come down, you flow to the right or flow to the left. Now, the hustle and grind pornographers would have you swim up to those boulders and beat them till they're bloody. And when you say, I can't do it anymore, they'll say, you're weak. Pay me more to do that. And they are wrong. And again, Kurt, oh, what about effort? If you're just joining us, effort does not have to equal struggle. And believing that causes you to self-sabotage. It is a limiting belief. It is a bogus belief. It is a belief that causes you to self-mutilate in the name of a bogus belief that would have you believe you got to eat shit for years. I did it. 4 years ago, I shut it down because I was done with it. Because here's the dirty little secret about stress. It's the number one killer in the world. Stress is the number one killer in the world. Look at the word disease. What I'd like you to do is put a hyphen between the dis and the ease. Disease is actually dis-ease. It is stress somewhere in your body. Whether you're talking about this virus, that virus, anything else, there is stress in your body. And if you want to make $300,000 and stress yourself, that's fine. I hope you take that money with you when you're dead. I hope you take that money with you when your stress causes stress in your family. I hope you take that money with you when you estrange your kids. Kurt, you're hyping it up. Really? I've coached and spoken to thousands of people over the last 4 years where that has been the exact case. I've had clients who have almost died over the last year because of the stress they cause themselves, and then they try to make up for it with medications. I actually had someone whose doctor prescribed him the wrong medication and almost killed him. I know someone who just had open heart surgery who looked healthy because he was slim, but he was not. The leading cause of disease, of dis-ease, is stress. So if you want to listen to the hustle and grind pornographers, great. Maybe they can have a hand in your death. Maybe they can take care of your family when you're gone. You don't need to be stressed. You don't need to be anxious. You don't need to grind when you can flow. In my book, flow is the fifth pillar. Now, Josh Steinley recently on his podcast, the Published Author podcast, asked me, what's one thing you would change for your book? And I answered without hesitation. I use the word fight a lot in my book. Fight for freedom, fight for this, fight for that. And I would replace it with the word allow. This doesn't mean you're passive. What it means is you have your thoughts. And if you clearly know where you want to go, then you don't need to grind to get there. You don't need to fight to get there. Yes, you need to take action, but the actions you take are deliberate in line with your creative thoughts. When you grind is when you just start taking blind action. You don't know where the hell you want to go. The other thing is, by making people believe that entrepreneurship and growth is all about struggle, is all about grind, is all about fighting, is all about eating shit, you're scaring some people away. There's people who contact me every single week who are so afraid of taking action, who are afraid of jumping into entrepreneurship because you have scared them. Now, I know why you're doing it, because fear is a great motivator for them to give you money. So I ask any of my clients now, I never use fear. If I wanted to use fear, I would have stayed with my PR and ad agency and just worried about money. Yeah, fear is a great driver for manipulation, not for influence. And so by convincing people that entrepreneurship and business, it's all about the struggle, you make people fearful, manipulate them into giving you more money. You see it. You see the product of these hustle and grind pornographers across LinkedIn, people glorifying the struggle. When you glorify the struggle, you're doing yourself harm. When you glorify the struggle and tell that story, you're doing others harm. I'm not saying if you've struggled, it shouldn't be celebrated that you overcame that struggle. What I'm saying is, don't say you have to struggle and that the struggle is the reward, that you are the struggle. Does this contradict some best-selling authors and some other people out there? Yeah, that's fine. If you know me, this isn't the first time I do that. But allowing, flowing, beats the grind 6 days a week and twice on Sunday. A lot of people say, oh, we just had the holidays. Oh, I got to take a week or two off. I need that break. If you live a life of alignment and flow, you don't need that week off. Am I coming to you here on Saturday? Is this considered work for me? Sure, maybe some of you might become my clients. I don't know. But I was sitting here doing some reflecting and I decided to pop up and record a LinkedIn Live. Am I putting effort into it? Yes. Is this a struggle? No, I'm sitting here drinking my tea. Figured I'd share some thoughts with you all. So you don't have to struggle. Don't think you have to struggle. The thought and the focus and the belief that you have to struggle is a self-sabotaging belief. It is a bogus belief. It is a limiting belief that causes you harm because the stress and the anxiety that comes along with this will kill you. And if you haven't learned that over the last 2 years, I don't know what is going to convince you. If you haven't learned over the last 2 years that your health, mental, physical, spiritual, is more important than that job, is more important than that meeting, is more important than that email, is more important, and that there is another way to live life rather than the grind and the struggle, then I don't know what will convince you. You know, in my book, I quoted Tony Robbins, who said we're most often motivated by the fear of perceived pain than we are the pursuit of happiness. And I think that's absolutely true. How many people for 5 or 10 years said, well, I'd love to start my own business, but that's going to be difficult. That's going to be pain because I watch this hustle and grind pornographer and this motivational guru, and he must be telling the truth because he's got a lot of followers and he sold some books. Okay, if that's the way you want to live your life, then go ahead and do it. But there is another way. And it's sitting down every single day and focusing and deciding and setting your attention and giving yourself permission to focus on what you want. Because see, another reason we grind and we flow is we focus on what we don't want. Well, first of all, when you focus on what you don't want, you get it. Secondly, if you don't know where you want, how do you know the route to where you want to give? One of the things I tell my clients is what we're going to do is put that pin in the map. Dating myself here before Google Maps and Apple Maps and GPS. You put the pin in the map and then you reverse engineer the route. You bring the map with you. So if while you're driving the bridge is out, you just take a detour. But people who only focus on what they don't want don't even know where the hell they're going. They don't have the map. They don't even know the destination. They just know where they don't want to go. And so you grind and so you hustle and you feel proud of it, even if you aren't getting the results you want. Because the struggle isn't the end. And by the way, it's the worst means to get to whatever end you want. Define that end you want. Define your desired outcome. Make it clear. Attach a positive emotion to it. Reverse engineer it and then take deliberate actions in line with those creative thoughts. You will start to get the results you want. If you say, Kurt, that sounds so easy, my answer to you is, or my question to you is, how's your program working out for you now? Well, Kurt, I'm pretty successful with the grind. Okay. Money? Your relationships, how's your health? Mental, physical, spiritual? Because the other thing about health is, in our society, we've been taught to measure health simply by a waistline or how you look. Now, that's important, but I know plenty of skinny people who over the last 2 years have been in fear because they know they're unhealthy. They're masking things with a cocktail of prescription drugs. I was there. I used to do that. Or they work out every day and they eat truly nutritiously, but they're stressed all the time, causing dis-ease. You can work out, you can look great, you can eat right. All those things are important, but if you are constantly stressed and have that anxiety, that is causing disease, it is causing damage within your being. So just some thoughts to share with you here on a Saturday. Yes, I want you to be present this Saturday. And by the way, if your Monday is ruining your Saturday, is keeping you from being present with your family, know that that's not normal and it doesn't have to be that way. Just because others make you think it's that way, it doesn't have to be that way, and it's time to make a change. Now, thank you, Angela says, beautiful message. I appreciate that, Angela. Angela, where are you joining us from? And by the way, Angela, what is awesome about today, and what will you do to make today even more awesome? Thanks to Angela for being one of the many people joining us live here who had the cojones to come in and share a message. For those of you watching right now, who are you? Where are you joining us from? What's awesome about today? And what will make today even more awesome? You can pick any of those and leave a message because I'm here drinking my tea. I got nowhere else to go right now because today is a day of relaxation, rest, and I'm going to do some hiking a little bit later here in beautiful Sedona, Arizona. Anyone else out there? Once again, thank you, Angela. Looks like between the two, we got 15 people joining us. All these lurkers are watching. Well, thank you for watching. I want to appreciate that. I'm not going to make you feel bad for coming in. The first step is awareness. So become aware of it. As you move through, maybe you'll take actions. Maybe you'll come in and join us. But I know we've probably got people across the globe right now. I'm doing more of these impromptu LinkedIn lives and YouTube lives. I used to schedule them and all that. Forget it. When I have a thought and I'd like to share it, I'm just going to go. I don't care about the algorithm. If your life has to be controlled by an algorithm, I think we got to look at the meaning in our lives. Helena from Portugal, welcome. Helena, what is awesome about today, Helena? Thank you for joining us today. I always love seeing people from around the world joining us. By the way, I am in beautiful Sedona, Arizona. I have a meditation garden out here, so you can't see much. But if you could, you see some of the red rocks right there. The red rocks of the energy vortex that is Sedona, Arizona. For those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about the fact that effort doesn't have to equal struggle. And shame on the hustle and grind pornographers who would have you believe you have to struggle, that entrepreneurship is about the struggle, that it's all about the grind. It isn't. Shame on them. They're trying to get your money. They're trying to use manipulation tactics to get your money, to scare you into it, and it causes self-sabotage. It causes dis-ease, which is stress somewhere in your body. Glenn Hicks, East Coast Canada, in the middle of a snowstorm. It's an awesome day as we're spending it with our daughter as we take her back to university. Awesome, Glenn. Thank you so much for joining. Speaking of snow, some of my friends back in Charleston, South Carolina, where we used to live, there was snow on the beach today. So, yeah, some crazy weather. We get a little snow here, but not today. We had a windstorm yesterday. I had to cancel some calls because our internet and our cell service was down. So thank you, Glenn. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. By the way, if you watch the replay of this, please still feel free to jump in, comment, let us know where you're joining us from, all that fun stuff. Mark Eagles from Rochester, New York. It's cold now, but the snow is beautiful. Spending a Saturday with my wonderful wife. That is wonderful. I'm going to go hiking with my wonderful wife when she comes back. She's dropped my daughter off at the gym. And just spending some time with my kids, doing some reading, doing some writing. I like to do some journaling. But speaking of writing, I have a number of books. I have 4 books I'm working on right now. And by the way, this theme about effort not equaling struggle and about growing without the grind, here's the deal. I want you to grow in every single way. I want you to grow the relationships you want. I want you to grow the revenue you want for your business or your career. I want you to grow the self-care you want, but I don't want you to struggle getting there. Because once you get at the top of the mountain, I don't care how much money you have, if you've inflicted dis-ease on your body, you're doing a disservice to yourself and the people around you. You know, I lost my dad. He was my hero back in 2012. You think losing him from cancer only affected him? Of course not. We lost a dear relative in December. Do you think losing her at the age of 53 only affected her? Of course not. It affects those around you. So people, I talked to someone yesterday who said, well, I'm doing this for my family. I'm trying to save so much money. I'm trying to play defense for my family. I said, well, what if you die tomorrow? And instead of playing a little bit of offense, at least you got one foot on the brake. You're doing your family a disservice. So we like to rationalize and bullshit ourselves by saying, well, I'm going to struggle. I'm going to do it for my family. Listen, I did that for 14 years and my family almost lost me. And if I didn't make a fundamental change, and I should have done it 8 years earlier, but if I didn't make that fundamental change, there's a good chance I wouldn't be here today. How would that have been for my wife and my kids, my extended family? How would that have been for the impact I have on the world? So if you always think and you justify the hustle, the grind, now, sometimes we do that because it's easier than doing the work, the daily work of having a clear intention of what you want. So you just focus on what you don't want. Now, one of the reasons we do that is the negativity, the programming. I often say, tune out the noise. And by the way, if you think some of the noise is important and it's your duty to watch the news every day, have at it. I had someone unfollow me from LinkedIn last year because I called certain political things noise. How dare you? How does me focusing on the noise today help my family? How does me focusing on the noise today help my clients? How does me focusing on the noise help me become a better human being? The answer is it doesn't. It causes that anxiety and stress, which causes dis-ease. Stress is the number one killer. Stress, whether you talk about cardiac, lung, whatever it is, the virus, it is a stress somewhere in your body. It is dis-ease. And those people, those hustle and grind pornographers, some of you are probably watching today who try to extract cash from people by making them fearful that they're just not struggling enough. Shame on you, because you are participating in the spread of disease. And if that sounds overhyped to you, then come over on my end. Be the recipient of the calls from people who are literally killing themselves building a business, who are literally killing themselves trying to earn an extra buck because some people have bamboozled them into thinking that you absolutely have to struggle and grind in order to be successful. It is a myth. It is absolute bullshit. Allowing beats fighting and flow beats grind every single day of the week. So with that, I want to give a shout out to some of the people who are joining us. Chris Miller, making a salad from Kentucky. You're in Kentucky, or the salad's in Kentucky, or the salad's from Kentucky? Watching the snow melt, hanging with my son, and listening to you. Well, thanks, Chris. I appreciate you spending a little time with me today. Sorry for the language, unless you have headphones in, if your son's there. Elena, today was a great day having lunch on the beach in the middle of winter. Lots of sun with friends and my daughter. Well, that's wonderful. Well, thank you, Helena. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Mark, Glenn, and Angela, and everyone else who joined me today. Thanks for spending just a portion of your day with me here. I appreciate it. We're going to do more of these LinkedIn and YouTube impromptu lives. Thank you so much. I would invite you, by the way, if you like good content, if you want to unleash your freedom and do it all without the grind and fighting, please go to freedommedianetwork.com. Freedommedianetwork.com. We have some incredible interviews, some incredible programs. We just had one with Dr. Joe Vitale talking about karmic marketing. Please go to freedommedianetwork.com, subscribe. We got some great content heading your way. Actually, some upcoming regarding education, some regarding freedom of thought, and in 2 weeks, one regarding your physical health. So thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah, Chris, he's heard worse. Yeah, I bet. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Sunday. And please have an abundant weekend in which you're present with yourself, your family, those around you, and the rest of the world. Take care.